Earlier this year, we had the opportunity of a lifetime for a Star Wars toy collector. We got the chance to interview Jim Swearingen, who is one of the people that is responsible for Star Wars toys. So we invite you to listen in and enjoy some of the things that Jim had to share with us.
Let me set up this. So once we get going, TikTok will be up there. We'll put IG over here on the bottom.
Oh, really? Okay, I've had so many times.
Let's go, B. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Murphy Street Podcast. I'm the host of the show, Murphy. Joining me today, my guy, B.
What's up, everybody?
The rules of Murphy Street, simple, always the same. Shoes and slippers at the door. Come inside and let's talk stories. So we'd like to welcome everybody, first of all, to From the Heart, Hawaii, our little talk story session that we have here tonight, a very special one. First and foremost, we do want to say thank you very much to From the Heart, Hawaii for hosting us. But also we want to thank the Hawaii Star Wars Collectors Club and Jesse Cedar Soberman for arranging these things for us. We do appreciate it. Sorry, Jess, something?
Oh, no, I was just shocking.
Oh, shocking for the live, yeah, right on. Right, once again, thank you so very much for setting us up. This is an amazing experience, very awesome. So, like I said, we'd like to introduce the man who is responsible for arresting so much of my disposable income, and maybe some that's not even disposable. Like some I have to keep on the low. Like I cannot tell my wife I bought this. So,
you're welcome.
Well, yeah, I was actually going to say, we'll blame you for that.
I wish I got a piece of it.
Yeah. Oh man. And this is exactly what we want to hear about. But the great Mr. Jim Swearingen, it is a pleasure to have you with us on the show today with us, sir.
Nice to meet
Thank you
you.
so very much.
Good to be here.
Fantastic. How is Hawaii treating you, first of all?
Well, we love Hawaii.
Yeah.
We come here all the time, so it's great. The weather's perfect.
Oh, well, fantastic. Well, welcome back home. Yeah. I don't want to repeat something that someone can just watch on Netflix or a show or something like that. But you are literally the person that's responsible for creating the Star Wars toy line.
I was there at the very beginning. I was the first person that read the script,
Right.
and I was convinced from the moment I read it.
You read a script when no one else wanted to.
Well,
What? Oh, so it says you were a sci-fi fan, right?
I was. I actually, yes. I saw Forbidden Planet. I don't know if you've seen it, but
Forbidden Planet. No, I wait. Didn't Disney make that into a movie?
Here you are.
it was where Robbie the Robot came from.
Yes.
The
Yes.
Id
Very
monster.
familiar.
It
Yes.
gave me nightmares for days, but it was the first science fiction I saw.
It gave you nightmares, so you as a glutton for punishment was like, oh, look, science fiction. Yeah, let me go read this.
I was born. On the same day that Russia dropped their first atomic bomb.
Wow.
They were testing a bomb, so it's so my mom dropped me and
Oh,
Russia dropped a bomb. So science fiction would play a part in my.
Yeah, I would feel that during that time frame, like it was probably pretty much the thing to do at that point in time. Huh? Like, it had to have captured a lot of imagination. 'Cause
Yes,
that's where everybody.
I remember I did one of my class projects was to build a bomb shelter
Wow.
out of like Lego bricks, but Lego hadn't been invented yet. But I built a bomb shelter with bunks for the family and little miniature stuff, all the supplies they needed.
So, along with creating the Star Wars line, you are also one of the original Doomsday Preppers. Is that what you're telling us right now?
Yeah, I really didn't carry that on, but
I don't have to ask this because I saw this and I was like, I wonder if this is confirmed. I'm assuming you watched that, the Netflix special, the
Yes.
Toys That Made Us. Has it been confirmed that Star Wars toys have made it to outer space yet?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, I thought you might know. I thought
I
you'd
mean,
be.
yeah, well, I wish I did, but no, I can't confirm that one word.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I saw that and I was like, he would know.
I cannot deny. But
Because you are responsible, obviously, for this line, and I know that you guys didn't actually get to pitch George Lucas himself. Did you ever get to work directly with George Lucas, and if so, what was that like?
I had a number of occasions to be with George. The biggest one was when we went to see Boba Fett. So he wanted to keep it top secret. He was reluctant to give us the figure anyway,
Okay.
but he wanted to say keep it top secret. So the area that I worked in was a closed area for people who couldn't come to preliminary design. So it came back to my office rather than going just to one of the action figure designers, and I went out to take photographs of it. I'm just there and go in. George says, come in the office. We sat down. We were sitting in George's office, and it was like, I don't know. He was, was a really regular guy at that point, and we talked about everything going on. He had an original painting of the Death Dealer by Frank Frazetta, and I had that poster in my office. So I was like, I have that poster in my office, and he's got the original.
He was like,
painting.
yeah, it's an original.
And he's got an old tin ray gun from Flash Gordon. And so we're just chatting about stuff, and so it was just like sitting down with like you and I, now. And his dog was there, Indiana. We had lunch with Indiana.
Yeah.
So it was really an exciting thing, especially since I'd been working on it for a couple of years, and now it's like sitting down with the maker. So our paths crossed a few times during the process of designing everything.
Let me ask you, because Dave Okada actually detailed how we came about with the 3 3/4 inch thing. Was that real? And were you present for that?
I was not in that meeting, so I can't confirm.
Shit, I was going to say, where he says Bernie Loomis puts his fan out. And
I know he says that.
He says that? Okay, good.
He did say that.
Quite fantastic.
And it may have happened.
Okay.
The fortuitous thing was that after, because my original drawings, the figures were probably 2.5, 3 inches
Sure,
tall.
so we went too far.
So
off,
the
right?
rendering was just, a pitch piece. But the next step in that process was to kit bash the figures. We wanted to make a 3D thing. We couldn't wait for sculptors and stuff because we're trying to get product out as fast as we can. And
Because you're already behind the gun on things.
yeah, because it took a year. Usually took us a year to get something from turnover, which is still down the way when we first read it. So we wouldn't have product until 1978. So I went out looking for something I could use to mock up the figures, and it was just so happened that Fisher Price had some truck drivers and nurses and stuff, which is what the first figures are kit bashed from.
Right.
And just by chance, the fireman is 3 3/4 inches tall.
Okay.
Who became Darth Vader. So whether Bernie said to make it this tall, or
I
my
see. Now
actually
I see
coming
where
out
you
with
say
a
that.
figure, it just happened to be a 3 3/4 inch figure. So somewhere in there is the reality of all that. So
You talk about kit bashing. How long did that initial kit bash, like before you got the actual? Who was the first figure you produced?
probably Darth Vader because it's the hardest one.
Really?
Because he started out as a fireman.
Right. I would assume so with
And
the helmet. Yeah, I see
so
that.
that one required carving up the
The
figure
face,
and
yeah.
doing more, messing with it. Like Luke, the model shop built the hilts and did the original lightsaber thing. So he was more just painting. I don't know what he started out as. I think it was probably a truck driver. And so a lot of the human figures were just mainly a little bit of body putty and some paint and stuff. The Darth Vader required more work, and C-3PO and those required more fiddling with, more body putty and
Right.
Exacto. But they were just for mock-ups. They were just part of the process.
Just because it is out of pure curiosity, I look at the lineup of the characters that you went with. Why was like, I don't know, the Jawa? Why was that a necessary one to have?
Those initial ones, it was part of the play value.
I see.
What are you going to play with? Later figures were more static, so we're looking, the whole R2D2 and then the interaction with the Jawas was just the natural play.
Oh, because they're both relatively the same size.
Yeah, and that scene is funnier when and probably more kid oriented.
Right. I like
fun.
that. Well, especially when you hear Dave Okada's story about how he got clothed.
Yes, his sock.
Yeah. I mean, I don't
wear
know.
brown socks, I guess.
Yeah, but we don't even have enough material on your sock right now to clothe the Jawa, do you? Yeah, I don't know if you guys heard the story, but Dave Okada actually cut off the front part of his sock and dressed it with that. And I love the quote from him where he's like, "Man, I hope George doesn't get too close to that one." It's like, yeah, probably. Yeah. From what we understand, you've mentioned that you like doing the C-3PO sculpt, right? Something that we've heard. Is that would you say that would be your favorite piece?
Well, my favorite of all of them is the X-wing.
Wow.
I love the X-wing fighter and the whole mechanism for opening
The flap open thing.
That was the thing that, when I was reading the script, that was the centerpiece of, from my point of view, as an 8-year-old boy, I wanted to play with the X-wing fighter. I wanted to be that pilot. I wanted to, do the dog fights with the TIE fighters, but the whole fun thing with R2-D2. Because at the point I was working on all that stuff, we didn't see anything.
Mm-hmm.
We had a few snapshots of things, but your imagination is running. That's the part of being a designer that I enjoyed most.
Right.
Is being able to. It's like I'm reading the script and I'm kind of conjuring up what I think things will look like. And I knew you have one picture of an X-wing fighter and one of a TIE fighter. It's a shot. That was used on packaging really early on. It's like this one photograph was all we had to work with from the very beginning of it. So that, and I thought, it'd be so cool to be a pilot in an X-wing fighter.
So that was the funnest part of your job, was
Yeah.
being able to unleash that 8-year-old inside of you.
Yeah. As a designer and as a marketing person,
Right.
You have to think like a kid. And I think the most successful stuff is, stuff where you're not thinking about the numbers, you're thinking about the play.
Yeah.
I mean, and Bernie Loomis thing about
Toyetic,
and all
yeah.
that stuff.
Which is I feel like I should have made you a shirt that just said Toyetic. I'm Toyetic.
Yeah.
Like that'd be
I'd be
really
surprised
dope.
if somebody hasn't already.
This is, and I haven't seen one.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one. So, but it is a dope one.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your favorite Star Wars character?
C-3PO.
Really?
Yeah.
So, do you like C-3PO or do you like Anthony Daniels?
C-3PO.
Okay.
I've met Anthony Daniels, and he's
fine and all,
he was
but he's not
very
gold.
nice, but pretty distant from everybody around him.
Really? How interesting. He seems so affable and just so
So
like.
yes, and I think he can be.
I'm sure.
I've only been to 2 events with him, where he was in. One was in Germany,
Mm-hmm.
and we actually had a 3-second conversation. But otherwise, he showed no interest in talking to very many people. So.
Wow, it's like one of those like you should never meet your heroes kind of moments. Huh?
Yeah, maybe. But C-3PO, so, I've never seen C-3PO in the flesh.
Right. In the gold.
In the metal, in the gold.
So,
I've seen him on screen, but
so this would be the vintage.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Did you have any like hands-on, I guess, input on that? Like,
No, well, mine was made out of I kit bashed the one out of a Fisher Price figure,
yeah.
but it was a lot less sculptural than this. I always, people say, "How did you sculpt that?" And it's like, it's barely good enough to be considered sculpting. It's definitely kit bash.
Kid bashing.
So, but yeah, this in kind of, this is an aside. This figure and the 12-inch figure were both done by a sculptor that only worked in acetate.
Okay.
So most of the figures are wax, and you go through a number of processes, and they're very easy to fix things. This one and this 12-inch were both done by a sculptor that it's a subtractive material. The acetate is a hard material, and
Right.
you carve away,
Right.
kind of like Michelangelo. And it was incredible to see the sculpture of this and the other one done that way, because
So you
they
mean
were just,
this is the Star Wars equivalent of the Statue of David?
yeah, basically.
Wow.
The big one for
Fantastic.
sure. But it was really, to see, I really, I really enjoyed being able to see the very original sculptures things, and realizing I could appreciate how talented our sculptors were.
What you think when you see? Obviously, this is a reproduction of what was to be the missile firing guy that never launched. So, what is
this a
that contra?
reproduction?
I don't
That's
even
original.
know. What
That's
is
so
that?
old.
Did we
That's
get that
so-
from Mexico?
No.
It doesn't have any
Well, I mean, because you actually had like a hands-on with this guy. So what?
Yeah.
What do you feel, or what are the things that come
Well,
to
that
you? When you
Kit
see
Bash one, the Kit Bash version, I took C-3PO's body, and that was the underpart.
Huh?
It was underneath.
Did
And
you
then-
know that? B?
No.
Crazy.
Yeah,
yeah.
so-
The more you know.
So the
Yeah.
the torso, if you look at, there's a reproduction of my Kit Bash one done by a guy in Singapore. He was really pretty good at it because you can see this the crotch.
Uh-huh.
But basically the body was a C-3PO. The arms are stormtroopers. The legs are Han Solo's. legs,
Interesting.
and then-
And Han Solo's legs.
yeah, and the head, I think this head probably came from a Darth Vader because there was enough material to
Around,
carve
right.
away.
Yeah.
But
Kit Bash Boba Fett is one of the legendary missing figures.
yeah,
Right. Oh, okay.
It was on the only place it's ever been seen is on the photo for the vinyl toy case, the action
Yeah.
figure case.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a
in
different
there.
version of the Boba Fett,
Oh.
and there's been people who've offered like $100,000 or $250,000
For a 3 3/4 inch figure.
If somebody could find it, yeah.
Yeah. Did you lose it, Jim? Are you responsible
Jim
for
has
losing
it.
that?
No, I didn't lose it. If
Go-
I had it, the bidding would start at $500,000,
There you go.
Good
Smart
place to
man.
start,
and
yeah.
then maybe $1 million. You know,
It's crazy because I feel like as a collector, you always want those pieces that are controversial, much like the Boba Fett, right?
Mhm.
Now, they actually went through and they created this retro line, and they did one that I'd like to get your take on because I don't believe you actually produced this one.
okay.
So, and I'd like to know why.
Oh no, yeah.
That was the reaction we were hoping for. So
Yeah.
fantastic.
Well, and yeah, this question comes up a lot.
Okay, good.
In when I go to Comic Cons, it's always like, why didn't they do Grand Moff Tarkin earlier? So, but in my defense, I actually ran across. I have a copy of my memo that I wrote about. At one point, I listed all the characters and ships and stuff in the memo that could be done,
Sure.
and I think it might have probably happened about the. I'm not sure. It was 1977, I think I did the list. And Grand Moff Tarkin on my list was number 12. A little off from the first 10, but he was on the list.
He was up there. Yeah.
And the good thing is I can always blame it on the marketing guy. But yeah, Grand Moff Tarkin should have been done way before the Death Star Commander thing.
Which was in the initial line.
Yes. That was, well, I turned over 11 figures
Okay.
and a list, and they just picked the wrong ones. Which is, I literally have had that question asked almost every time I've made a presentation. Because there'll
Okay.
be somebody in the audience that's not heard it before.
Oh, okay. Well, sure. I'm sorry. I thought we had a great original question, but here we go.
Well, it is a good question.
Status quo, I guess.
But yeah, Grand Moff Tarkin is a really terrific villain. So
And how much involvement did you have with the re-releases or like these retro figures?
nothing. I
Nothing,
was gone,
really.
long gone. Yeah, I left.
Wow.
I left I left Kenner the first time to go to Hasbro in 1985. I came back in '90 because Dave Okada asked me to, and then I left in '92 before they Hasbro completed the acquisition.
Hmm.
And I formed my own. I had my own company. I had two partners, both former Kenner and designers, and we formed a company called Soda Design, SOEDA, and we actually did a pitch for Playmates to steal Star Wars from Kenner, or from
Wow.
Hasbro at that time. They hired us to do the kind of a pitch line for them, so we actually tried to steal it. I probably shouldn't say that because you did what?
That's
No,
so
that's
before
fine.
I open the questions up for the audience, and if there's any, then we'll take those and then we'll wrap up. I just wanted to ask you, when you see these lines nowadays, and they've now changed from 3 3/4 inch to the 6 inch, and obviously they still produce a 12 inch, which I've never understood. But anyway, do you feel like do you look at it and go, wow, I'm responsible for that?
A little bit.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I think you should be.
Well, yeah, because at the very beginning, our marketing people were kind of like, Star Trek did, nobody in, Sears and Kmart and all those guys, none of them wanted to do another Star Trek.
Yeah, right.
And
The
so
Star
they're
Trek
like,
knockoff.
Science fiction is dead for now,
Mm-hmm.
and luckily Kenner was a little less, we could keep pitching it, because we did. I pitched it. Every week we'd come up with a new idea. Somebody would come up with something for Star Wars, and the marketing people, we'll think about it. And luckily at some point they said, we're
That's
going to
it.
do it. It was a great time.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jim. Any questions from the audience? Anybody that's here in attendance with us?
Kind of randomly, since you said you went back to Kenner between 90 and 92, I think,
Yeah.
and you were doing marketing at that point. So were you dealing with like the Batman line?
No. I came back to Kenner to go back into design as a design director, I think as a director, for Girls Toys.
Okay.
And we were reintroducing Care Bears, I think, and some other stuff.
Where were you when the micro line was being developed, and what are your thoughts on that
I was
line?
working on Strawberry Shortcake.
So you had nothing to do with that.
Yeah. It was a good idea. Didn't go very far. But
What kind of events do you have coming up? What do you do? Do you do a lot of shows or?
The only thing I've scheduled for 2024 is Nashville. I think it's the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. And I'm actually, I'm not. This is kind of I can't say any more than I'm working on a project for 2027.
Oh.
A project, not like a show, but sort of a project. Okay.
I can't tell you anymore.
Well, that's exciting.
I know. Wow, we get a tease.
Yeah, well, I think you can figure out what 2027 is.
I can.
Oh,
Well, what do you think it is, Jess?
The 50th anniversary.
Of a New
Something.
Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
That's
working
awesome.
on something.
Wow.
Not a toy or any of that stuff. But it should be a big year.
What about Japan?
celebration.
That's tough.
Yeah.
I went to London on my own dime. Japan is tough because it's really expensive, and getting there might be getting there might not be the hardest part, but hotels and stuff are incredibly expensive.
All right, well, Jim, we don't want to keep you for much longer, so we just want to say thank you so very much, good sir, for sharing your time, your mana'o, as we like to say here in Hawaii. So thank you from the bottom of our heart, from our heart, since we're from the heart. But yes, and we also want to thank from the heart. Thank you very much, Cedar, for setting this up for us.
Mahalo.
And we cannot thank you enough for your time. Now, for everybody else, please make sure that you follow the Murphy Street Podcast on our socials, which is Murphy Street 808. That is MURPHYSTREET 808 on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter or X. I still don't know which we should call that. I need to talk to Elon. We'll figure it out. And then also Murphy Street Productions on YouTube. And you guys, as you guys know, here on Murphy Street, when you guys are exiting, we always like to remind you one thing and one thing only. Right, B? Don't forget your slippers.
Aloha.
Aloha. Yeah, thank you, Jim.
You're welcome.
How do you end this one?
Souvenir.
Fantastic, thank you. Oh, and you brought the nice. Would you mind, like, actually?
How do you end this one?
Too? What's that?
How do you end this one?
Top right corner. But yeah, I would also truly love one of those things.